very trained for and very prepared for. I wouldn't be surprised if there's a little levity in the cabin. It's always good to take any opportunity you can to rib your crewmate, just to keep things light and to recognize that, you do know what you're doing and you don't have to be too serious, despite the fact that you are very focused. I think one exciting thing coming up in the countdown is they're about to switch to autonomous power. And that's when basically they're in control of their own spacecraft. And that's a big moment because they know that they're going to be in that position, until they dock with the space station. And they're just looking forward to feeling those engines go behind them.
And Katie, you've talked to us before about how your first mission got scrubbed 7 times within the first 30 days. So, Sade has a song, "It's never as good as the first time." Is that true? Do you think that they still have the same excitement and anticipation about this trip?
Yeah, I'm sitting here right now, actually, there's just this feeling.
You feel it.
And there's no, maybe yesterday, maybe this morning, I don't know, will it launch? I guess I'll go out there. The weather looks bad. But then you put that spacesuit on, you do all these things. And I have this good feeling about today. I do. I was going to say it's a lot harder to watch a launch, I think, than to be in one. When you asked about what they were doing. Well, because they've trained for this. They're ready.
They're in the zone.
And also, it's what everybody's been living for. All the work they've all done together. They're doing it now today together. And yet watching is hard.
Christina, as you watch this, we know that you helped sort of pack them, get them ready for the space station. Talk to us about that process. We asked you about that on Wednesday, but it is so fascinating what they can take up to the space station and how they kind of figure out what they can't take and what they can do and the certain things that they sort of needed to live on the space station with.
Yeah, absolutely. This whole process begins just by getting their provisions up there. You don't get to pack your own bags when you go to space. They're just taking the spacesuits that are on them. And so everything's already been set up. It's ready for them, and they know that. But it is still a strange feeling to be launching, to have nothing with you. But like I said, that process began when I first unpacked, their food containers and their clothing containers with their last names on them. And I looked at them and said, this is happening. This new era is going to begin, and it's going to be soon.
And curious also, you've said before, Katie, that launching is the most thrilling thing that you do. It's also the most dangerous. How, in this moment, are you thinking about the risks of it?
You've made the decision to be on the top of that rocket years before you're actually sitting there. And so I don't think they're doing their jobs. And they're thrilled about what their jobs are. And it's just so much work that everyone's put in. It's harder on the folks that are on the ground, I think.
We're just seeing the president right now who has arrived there to the Kennedy Space Center to witness history, to watch this launch. As we look at the countdown clock, they're just 4 minutes away. I believe that's Vice President Mike Pence standing right next to him as well. And in the distance there, we can see the Falcon 9 rocket and the Dragon capsule above it. This is definitely a difficult time for the country right now, and it is going to give us a break from everything that is happening across the country. So much unrest, so much unhappiness, so much sadness. It'll give us a reason to look up, because for so many months we have been looking down for so many reasons, the pandemic and now everything else that's going on around the country. I do want to ask you, when you take off, Katie, at what point do you feel the force? Because we're talking about 17,000 miles per hour. You can go from Miami to Los Angeles in 10 minutes. That is fast. Talk to me about just what it feels like inside that capsule.
You're on your back, and then it's just this amazingly intense thrust where you just realize that you are going. It's not that you're going so fast yet, but you are just. It's so clear.
Dragon is in countdown. FTS is armed for launch. Dragon, SpaceX, go for launch.
It's a lot.
We just heard ready to launch. We're 30 seconds away. Katie, I see the tears in your eyes right now.
30 seconds.
Talk to us about what's going on inside.
It's a big deal for people to leave the planet. It is so hard, and so many people have come together to make this happen. And we're watching. You have to be there with them.
Stage 1 tanks pressing for flight.
T-minus 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff of the Falcon 9 and Crew Dragon. Go NASA, go SpaceX, Godspeed, bottom dog.
Godspeed indeed.
Vehicle pitching downrange.
Emotional moment for you right now, Katie, watching.
Stage 1 propulsion is nominal.
out and power time to nominal.
M1D throttle down.
Katie and Christina, as we watch this, I'm thinking about what Bob Behnken told his family just before they left. Let's light that candle, because you see that big, beautiful rocket, clear blue skies, and just headed straight on its mission.
M1D throttle up.
Hope triumphs over fear in a time where our country needs it. Needs to be reminded of that.
And down on the ground, they can actually feel. You can physically feel that crackling that we hear. You can physically feel that.
Our Gio Benitez is at the Kennedy Space Center right now. Behind him is where the rocket just took off from. And Gio, what are your thoughts? I mean, you were right there. You could feel it. You could hear it. Walk us through.
Start of MVAC engine chill.
Well, I just have to tell you, I'm emotional right now because this is such a moment. And to feel what Katie was talking about, feeling that moment, feeling that go up into the air, and you can still sort of feel it. Extraordinary human achievement right here. And sorry for getting emotional, but it's my first launch, so there's that.
And Christina,
Wow.
not at all your first launch. What are your thoughts as you're watching this historic moment?
I just couldn't be more thrilled. I'm thinking about how Bob and Doug feel in there and how excited they are. You know, every moment of the day was mostly the same as what they had experienced in their training sims until that takes off. And you know you're going up. And at this point, they've been going up for so long, they know they're not stopping till they're in space. And that is just an incredible feeling. It's a new era where space travel isn't just limited to sovereign countries and governments. It's something that's going to be accessible for all, and it's going to be an innovative thing where we just open it up, and I can't wait to see where we go with it.
Confirmed.
There's first stage step.
MVAC ignition.
Katie, talk to us about what we're just watching right here. We know this is a sort of a critical moment.
So that's the first stage dropping away. We call it main engine cutoff.
And explain to us exactly what's
So
happening.
basically the first stage, the first giant piece, we've used all that gas and now we're kicking it off. It's actually going to fly itself back down to the recovery ship. It goes up for another long time and then comes back down, but we'll see all that within the next few minutes.
And that was a major part of SpaceX's program, the reusable rockets, to
Absolutely.
make this, I don't want to say affordable, but to make it cost effective.
Exactly, to be able to reuse them again. And actually what they learn and making sure they understand how to make them fly back has been immense.
And Elon Musk had referred to that as part of the holy grail of spaceflight, essentially saying, why would you throw away a 747 every time that you used it? Give us a sense of what happens now. It'll not be until tomorrow. Is that in the morning or the afternoon when it's expected to dock with the International Space Station?
So this is the Dragon itself is still powering up into space. So it's still on the second stage engine right now.
Nominal trajectory.
Nominal trajectory I'm hearing. And so
Signal Bermuda.
And what does that mean, what we're hearing right now?
they're saying when the next abort site is. Like, so all the way up from North Carolina, basically Nova Scotia, over to Ireland, there are abort points. They're designated points that if something goes wrong, that will be the place. And there are...
Where the Dragon capsule can come off.
Exactly.
The propulsion is still nominal.
And that particular abort that's available here actually made this less risky than the initial NASA space shuttle flights.
I don't know about the numbers, but it's really, it's extremely valuable to have this kind of abort capability, not interrupted by, oh, if it happens at this time, we couldn't quite abort. They have abort capability. They have 50 different abort sites all the way from the Cape and from the time before they fuel. From that time, that capsule could be pulled off of the rocket and Bob and Doug would land in the water. And now it's just a question of if that should happen, where.
SpaceX nominal trajectory.
Christina, talk to me about what Bob and Doug are doing right now inside the capsule. We can see them there on the left hand of the screen. What are they reviewing and what are they doing at this moment?
You know, at this moment, it's really just all about the rocket. So they are probably reviewing some of the pressures and different signals that they're getting in telemetry from the rocket itself. Like Katie said, they are on the second stage, so they're going to continue to be propelled into space up until 8 or so minutes into the total flight. So they're monitoring, but monitoring isn't as simple as just looking at a couple gauges. You know, everything is vibrating. They're having a lot of G-forces on them. So even just monitoring the systems and listening to the communications is a big job as test pilots that they're doing.
You know, I'm going to ask our director, Dave DeCinti, if he can, by